that was the moment that I definitely was like, no one's coming to save you, and you have a whole nother life to worry about. You've got to figure this shit out. Hey guys. So I haven't been on here in a while. I want to say it says like 8 or 9 days. I've been sick. I am just starting to sound a little bit better. I didn't want to get on here sounding how I sounded before, but I'm much better. And today, instead of it being like 7, it's like 27 degrees. I think it's supposed to get like up to 30. So sun is shining. It's a good day. I'm like, let me get back on this grind of pushing out these videos. But as you can see from the title, I wanted to just talk about how no one is coming to save you. So, a little quick backstory. When I stayed in a shelter, this was a long time ago. My daughter was like, I want to say she was 2 maybe. And there was a girl I became cool with, and she had 5 kids. She was leaving an abusive husband or something, I think. Yeah, I believe that's what was happening. And I just remember, you know how there's some people who are just go-getters, just naturally born that way? I was not born that way. I am definitely a go-getter now because life has made me that way, but I was not always that person. And so she was definitely a go-getter. Like, she was on it. Her job had transferred her from wherever she was to where we were at. So that was kind of helpful. I had to still look for a job, but she was able to transfer. And then she found a daycare for all 5 of her kids. And I ended up sending my daughter to the same daycare, which was a great daycare. They were getting like home cooked meals and everything. And then she ended up, I think, getting a new van. Now, I will say she had a little bit of her parents' help. And there was a guy in her life who was a friend she had known from before, and he was kind of like helping her out a little bit. But she was mostly like doing it herself. She was like a go-getter, up every morning, had those kids on a schedule, everything. And I remember just looking at her like, I have 1 kid. Why don't I have this? Why don't I have this go-getter mentality? And being in a shelter, I mean, you have 90 days to figure it out, and you're going to get put out. And you would think that will put a fire under your butt, you know what I'm saying? But for me, it was like, I almost feel like there was something wrong with me mentally at that point in time. And I'm not being funny. I really felt like something was wrong with me, because it was like, why aren't you realizing the situation that you're in is bad and no one's coming to rescue you? Like, you've got to figure this out, and you have a whole nother human being to worry about. And one night I was just laying there like in tears, like, I really don't know what I'm about to do. And I even attempted to get back with an ex and like move together. We had discussed that, and I was like, I can't do that. Like, that's not going to work. That's going to be another temporary situation to have me back in here. So I don't remember what happened. That was so long ago. I can't remember like what were the different stages. I don't know if that was a time where I went and stayed with my stepdad after for a short amount of time. And then, yeah, I don't know how the order went exactly. But I just remember that was the moment that I definitely was like, no one's coming to save you, and you have a whole nother life to worry about. You've got to figure this shit out. It's serious. Like, this is cutthroat. No one's helping you, you know? And that's not to say that you won't get any help whatsoever. I'm not saying that there aren't people who are going to help you. I've told you guys before, there's strangers who have helped me. So I'm not saying you won't get any help. But there was no one who was going to come and like give me this job, or help me to get a better car, or find me a mechanic for my car, or find a daycare. I got lucky with the girl who I was cool with at the shelter, you know, my daughter being able to go to that same daycare. And then, you know, just like being on the grind. Now, I will say, as a single mom, it is a lot harder. You have to make the decision to work 3 jobs and have someone else raise your kid, or work and be there to raise your own child. And the difference is that I didn't have someone to pick up my child from school. So work hours are usually after school's already out. I didn't have someone to take her to school. Usually you're supposed to already have been at work when they go to school. So I always had to find a job that worked around the schedule of getting her to and from. That was always the difficult part of getting a job, because most jobs are not going to work around that. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like they want you to do all these things as a single mom, but it's like some stuff you can't do. You just can't. You can't maneuver that. And now daycare costs are diabolical. I don't even know. You should probably think about having children. Look at daycare costs and factor that in. If you don't have a mom who can keep your kids, I don't know if you're going to be able to afford it. So anyway, I just think it is important, especially in the times like now, that you understand that no one's going to rescue you. There might be some younger person who's watching this video who's like waiting for that special someone to rescue you. And when I say special someone, that could be anybody. It could be a family member. It could be a man, a woman, whatever the situation may be. You have to realize that even if someone did swoop in and do whatever it is that you want them, that you think they're going to do, there's going to be consequences with that. If I met a rich man right now and he was like, I want to marry you and do all these different things, but I need you to be on my back and call. I need you to be ready to pack and go whenever I'm ready. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Like, there's always going to be something with that. And that's not always necessarily going to be the case, that's going to happen. So, like I said, no one's coming to rescue you. So these are just some notes that I wanted to go over with you guys as far as giving you an idea of what to do, how to maneuver. One thing is just taking ownership over your life. You have to realize that you're responsible for your own success and your own happiness. I tell my daughter this all the time. I said, no one is going to come in and just like make your life you're going to be so happy now because they're in it. And I don't think I would really want that anyway, because then if they go away, what am I, miserable? So, but you have to take responsibility for your own success, your own happiness. You have to do the work. Waiting for someone else to do it, basically that's just going to delay the progress. There was a person I had talked to who was like, oh, I could edit your videos. This was before I started this channel. And they were like, oh, I can learn. But if I was waiting for them to learn to edit my videos, that would delay my progress. Instead, I taught myself. I learned, very small nuggets from a friend. And then I went from there. And you can Google just about anything, Also, you could pay people like off Fiverr and stuff like that, but that would have delayed my progress had I waited for that. Number 2 is recognizing the reality of life. My life has been so unpredictable. I hate to say this, like, it's not that I don't believe that things are going to happen that I pray for, that I think in my mind, but I am definitely ultimately prepared that it's unpredictable. It may not go how I planned, no matter how much I write it down, organize it, pay for it, whatever it is. It just may not go that way because life is unpredictable. So you have to be prepared for that. And it's not guaranteed that someone's going to help you either. That's the other thing. I think sometimes you assume a family member, a parent, a sibling, or someone's going to help you, or that they're supposed to. They don't have to. That's not their responsibility once you're a grown up. So number 3, I had to develop a problem-solving mindset. I've always had this mindset because I've been through a lot of different situations, so I've always been thinking of how to solve things. But I will say, it can be harder when you have a whole nother human being to raise. It's one thing when it's just me, because there's plenty of things that I can do, you know, but when your child is included, I had to think about, like, back when she was younger, I got a 1-bedroom. That was like the best solution I could have ever came up with. She doesn't even remember that, but I had a 1-bedroom and that was perfect. All her toys were in there. She could go in there and shut the door and play. And then we slept together at night, and, you know, I would be in the living room and stuff. So even if you have to get a studio and it's just you and your kid, do what you got to do to make it happen. Overcoming the failures. This is just part of the process. And I won't say it was necessarily a failure because I learned, but my first channel was with my daughter, and that was actually going well, but she wanted to stop when she went to high school. And then my second channel, I didn't really know about the whole niche thing, and I didn't do enough research. And so that kind of failed. And then this is, you know, like I told you guys, I'm putting my all into this and I'm doing the research and the work. But you have to be okay with failure. Everything's just not gonna work out. And that's how you eliminate things. That's how you figure out what is good for you and what is not, what is gonna work out and what's not. That's how I feel like that's how I figured out different things of, like, what I wanted to do in life. I used to want to be a lawyer, and there's still things I look up. I still have, like, there's a lot, like, law interests me. The law interests me still to this day, but I didn't want to put forth the effort to be in school that long, to go to law school. I definitely think people should if that's what they want to do. And you never know, maybe down the line I would still do it, but, you know, putting forth that effort. But you have to take risks to grow. And that would have been a risk that I would have taken, but there was a whole lot with even me going to school for what I did go to school for was a lot with having my child, because I had to figure out, how are you going to go to work? How are you going to go to school? Who's going to pick up your child? Who's going to, you know, like I said, no one's coming to save you. You got to figure this out. Seeking help versus dependency. I have sought help from people temporarily, like stayed with a cousin till I was waiting on an apartment. I stayed with my grandmother when I was waiting for another place. I stayed with my mom at one point when I was waiting for another place. That is seeking help versus me depending on someone. And when I say depending, I mean, like, expecting them to take care of me. Like, when I stayed with my mom, I had my own money to buy my own food or get whatever I needed for my daughter. I wasn't expecting her to keep my child or babysit. You know, if she did, I was grateful, but I didn't expect that. You just don't want to be dependent on someone else when it comes to your life. You can't depend on anyone else when it comes to your life. That's just not a good idea. You won't get very far. And lastly, the power of action. And this is what I'm noticing. The more effort I put towards whatever it is I got going on, the more effort that I put toward it, the better it goes. And it's scary. I can't say it's not scary knowing that no one's coming to save you. But if you have that mentality that you're waiting for someone to save you, trust me, you're not going to get very far. And it's not probably going to work out very well for you. You definitely have to figure things out on your own. And you have to start kind of young. Like, I'm teaching my daughter now. I might not always be able to help you. I may not always be there. I'm going to do everything in my power to help my child. But what if something happens to me? I want her to know no one's coming to save you. You've got to figure this out on your own. You have to have a plan. And one of the things I would say is that starting small, you know, dreams without action is dead. My dream is to blow up this channel and give people the best advice I can from the things that I've been through. But it wouldn't happen if I didn't put in the work, if I don't learn to edit, if I don't figure out what my audience wants to see from me. I have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. Know that no one is coming to save you. I know it sounds scary. There will definitely be people along the way who will help you. There always is someone who will help. Like I said, I've had strangers help me before. So, but this is all I have for you today. Comment below if you have any other ideas that you feel like people should know about not expecting to be rescued and knowing that, you know, most of the time you're on your own out here. No one's coming to save you. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.